What is up, YouTube? Coach James here. Very excited to be sharing another video with you all. In this video, we're going to be going over how to label things and how to call out things on plans using AutoCAD Civil 3D. I want it to be super basic, super simple for you. I know one issue that I had starting out as an entry-level civil engineer was that I couldn't really find videos to help me do the simplest things. Like, there was always somebody talking crazy or talking in a way that I couldn't understand. So hopefully this helps, and we're going to get right into it. But first, I want to let you know that I am a civil engineer. I have my EI certification, so I've been in civil engineering realm for graduated maybe 2 years ago, undergrad, but I've been working for various firms for like 5 years since high school, so kind of used to standard practice. But let's go ahead and get into it. So first things first, we're looking at the United States of America, right? Different states, and you're going to need to be able to label different things when you're first starting out. They want you to label, dimensions. They want you to label areas. They want you to label what state it is. So for this example, we're just going to do some basic text and call outs. So first thing you want to do, and how this looks, I guess, is something like this. Like, you just want to see it, say North Carolina, right? Super basic, but just labeling all the states. But I want to walk you through how to do that and how to make it look good and go from there. So first things first is we want to type in MTEXT or MT. And if you want to type out the whole thing, we can, just in case you don't have the shortcut set up. All right, and it's saying to select where you want to place the text, right? So I want to place it in here. And what do I want it to say? Well, standard, you normally have things in all caps when you're working, so turn your caps lock on, and let's do that. So type in North Carolina, and then we want to click anywhere away from this gray box so that we can just see the text and it not be showing, right? So, or this gray box not be showing. So let's click out. Okay, so where the heck did our text go, right? Well, right now, I can't really, I don't know if I'm going to be able to find it. Maybe I will be able to, but if not, then I will try it again. So let's do MTEXT. The reason why I can't find it is because it's super small. So I'm just going to do that for now. Okay, so now I'm zooming into it. As you can see, it's a super small dot, right? Our text is just way too small. And now I think I just found the other one. But anyways, so we see the end that we typed out. So let's blow this up. So how do we make our text bigger, right? Well, first we want to make sure that it says everything that we need it to say. How do we make this text bigger? Well, we want to change our properties. So to change our properties, we must type out PR for properties. And we want to go and scroll down to text height. Because I know what we need this text height to be for it to be legible, I'm going to type that in. But whatever you need your text to be for your sheets, then that's what you're going to type there. And so standard practice is that when you're printing out sheets, your typical text height is going to be like 0.08 for labeling different road names and things like that. If you need bigger labels like site boundary labels and things like that, then you may have it at 0.1 or 0.12, but that's typical for your plan sheets. So now we have North Carolina, right? So what if we want to change maybe how it looks, the style, like we don't want it to be aerial, maybe we want to switch that style. Well, we're going to go in here we're going to double click on our text. We want to highlight the text that we want to change, and we want to click in our font section. So we can change it to Arial Greek, which doesn't look like much of a change, but this bond script, I don't know what that is, but you can see a change there. Condensed, semi-condensed. So you can play around with that, but most of the time it's just going to be Arial. That's standard. Don't want any weird text coming in. We're not architects, so they do all the pretty stuff. We just keep it basic and bare bone. So yeah. So what about if we want it to be centered? We just go here and click our justification and center it. And we can move our text by clicking once to highlight it and clicking the square and clicking it, and then now we can move it to where we want it. So to me, this looks pretty good other than the style. It's actually kind of bothering me, so I'm going to change it back to Arial. Okay. So that's how you use, I guess, MTEXT. Now, what about if we want to rotate it? Because sometimes we don't want text just to be horizontal. We want it to be kind of look cool and go along different lines. So for this example, I'm going to have it go along this line, right? So to be able to do that, we can rotate it. It's one way. So I'm just going to hit type out rotate, or RO. It's a shortcut. And now we want to pick the point. So I like to pick in the center just because it helps me. But you can kind of click anywhere and see what best works for you. But click in the center, and then I want to just rotate it to where it looks like it's similar to the line. So yeah, I want my text to be aligned with that. Like this would be a good place to put like a site boundary or state boundary line as a label. So that's one way to do it. I typically don't like doing it like that because it's not perfect. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change it back and show you the way to do it another way. Okay, so if you want to go back, of course, you just hit Control-Z and it'll take you back through whatever you're trying to get back to your original place. But anyways, we're going to use a command called the T-orient. So you type in T and then O, R-I-E-N-T, and you should see T-orient. And you select your object, then hit space or enter. Now you select the line that you want it to mimic. All right, so I want it to mimic this line. So you can turn your snaps on by clicking F3, and that's when you'll be able to see these green kind of lines and points that you want it to look, that you want to snap to. So when I clicked points along this line, now you can see my text automatically lined it up perfectly, right? So I think that's pretty cool. You can play around with that. Another thing is MLEADERS. So what about if we want to call out using an arrow? And that's what an MLEADER is. So we type in MLD, or you can click and find it. It's just MLEADER. And now it's asking you, where do you want your arrow to be? So I just want my arrow kind of right there. And click another point where you want your text to be. And I want it to say North Carolina. Right. And that's it. Well, again, we can't see our text, so we want to zoom in and change that in our properties. So we just click our text and go to properties, and we see that our text height for this example is only 4, and I made the other text 10,000 just for this example so that we can see it. So we want to zoom out. Now we can see North Carolina, but where's our arrow? So your arrow is always on the end, so I'm just going to zoom into it so you can see that it in fact is an arrow, but it's just showing up super small. So to update this, just click our MLEADER, and go to properties, and we can go to arrowhead size. And since our text is 10,000, I'm just going to make it the same just for this example. So now you can see, hit escape. So now you can see our arrow came in. Now, you may not always label something with an arrow. You may use like a circular dot. So to change that kind of style, we go into our properties and we go to arrowhead right here, and it's showing us that it's a closed field arrow. But if we click in there and click on the drop down, we can change it to a dot, and look at that. Now we have a dot. Or we can change it to something else, like a box, right? And this is good to kind of decipher things. Another important thing when you're labeling something is how your text is aligned. So sometimes you're going to have text that you don't want to, you want to kind of keep within a certain boundary. And so you may have to put North up top and Carolina down below. But just remember, whenever you're labeling something, look at where you're labeling. So we're labeling something to the left, so our text is left aligned, right? Let's say, for example, I'm going to copy this label, and I'm going to move it over here. And let's say we want to label Nevada. All right. Well, now we just double click in here and change our text to say Nevada, and it's big, right? And so you can see that our text changed automatically, but it's important if you want to change how it's aligned. You can go in to your properties and go to justify, and you can click centered, but we want it, since we're labeling right, we want to keep it right. About to run out of time on this video, so that's all I have for you guys. If you liked the video, please hit the like button. If you found it valuable, make sure you subscribe and check out all of my content. I am going to be making a ton of beginner-friendly videos for AutoCAD Civil 3D and just the engineering journey. So hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next one.